right, so I will start with this brief thought on Hamilton, which obviously just dropped on Disney Plus last Friday, just in time for July 4th weekend. So here are my thoughts on this.
Should we say spoilers at this point? We're pretty we might be pretty spoiler
spoilers.
heavy.
Go and watch it right now, then come back and watch this.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Hamilton's dead.
But not that we could spoil it, because
It's history.
it's so amazing that we could tell you the whole story and even do our versions of the songs, and you would still want to see it.
No, exactly. There's only
Honestly,
so much you get from the cast album.
Yeah, we were talking about it before our stream, and there's definitely some songs we want to cover, so stay tuned.
But yeah, full spoilers ahead. I think everyone knows me at this point. Like if we talk about something,
honestly,
like there's no spoiler-free review of anything. That costs way too much time that I don't have. Anyway.
Yeah.
So every year, Broadway produces these big musicals that take the theater community by storm. And then every decade, there's usually a musical that tends to be bigger than most. A show that defines each decade when you think of that specific point in time. What would define a super musical? In my book, they would have to compete for a lot of Tonys. Most of the good ones do. They have to make a lot of money. And then they have to be continually successful on Broadway so that community theaters won't get the rights to do them for a very long time. Specific ones stand out in my mind. You have Les Miserables of the 80s, only fully becoming available just a few years ago after you had reduced versions. Like there was the school version that was out there, and maybe there was a junior version out there, but it wasn't until a few years ago that we got the full-fledged production that we could do anywhere. Lion King was that for the 90s, becoming the biggest musical of all time. Personally, it's my favorite musical. You can do a junior version of it now, but it's still not the full-fledged thing, so give and take. It's still going to be a long time before we get that, because it's still making money. You have Wicked for the 2000s, and it's still bringing in money, and those rights are gonna get released for a long time. But then you get to the 2010s, and you name one show that just defines the past decade, and becoming one of the most successful Broadway shows of all time. You're thinking Hamilton. What makes it so huge and feel bigger than most other shows out there? Well, it was nominated for a record 16 Tonys. It won 11. It's only second place from the producers, winning 12 back in 2001. Its social media presence has been huge. It's made great use of behind-the-scenes videos and ticket lotteries that included Ham for Ham shows, where cast members and special guests would perform before each lottery, before each show, and usually those would cause traffic issues all up and down the street just outside the Richard Rodgers Theater. These performances were obviously spread around thanks to social media and all the videos that went around, and it only hyped up the actual presence of the show. They eventually stopped these, but they still have tons of online lotteries for the tickets every day, and usually gets a lot of hits on the website, so it's still super popular. They released the Hamilton mixtape, which I do have right here. Where featured pop, R&B, and hip-hop artists collaborated on songs from the original show, as well as it highlighted demos by Lin-Manuel himself that were originally written for the show, but just didn't make the final cut. Most recently, of course, the show, featuring almost the entire cast, the original cast, was dropped on Disney+. It only cost Disney $75 million to get the rights to put it out.
Just that much, though. That's like nothing.
Don't think I'm
Just a handful of cash,
That's
right?
fine.
That's so
Not a problem.
If only we had that much.
You just imagine Disney had it in their pocket. They were like, oh yeah, here you
Sarah, if only we had $5 to put together this show. Originally, it was supposed to be put out in theaters, in movie theaters. That was the original plan. But then once they announced that Broadway wasn't coming back till at least January of next year, that's when they decided to push it out on streaming.
Wonder if do you think that would have made a difference to how popular it is and was?
No, but I think it's having a bigger impact now because it's
so.
being broadly direct to the consumer.
For sure,
where everyone can now engage in it all at the same time. It would have made money in the movies. I don't know if it would have been.
I think so. I don't think it would have been quite as it would have been getting quite as many views right now.
Yeah, maybe if they did like a 2-week engagement or something. I don't know what the plans were as far as that goes, but clearly it's having a ton of success being available to everyone, especially since so many people downloaded Disney Plus the
And it's-
day that it dropped just to get it.
And,
So
and
it's only-
anyone who's seen it is promoting it like mad, or at least I am.
or like we are right now.
It's my first question I ask anyone these days. Have you seen Hamilton?
You couldn't get tickets to the show, but now it's everywhere. It was a running gag on like almost every TV sitcom. Like, you got tickets to Hamilton?
It was such an exclusive
If
thing.
you
and
knew
now it's-
somebody that went to Hamilton, they were like blessed.
And you got celebrities like, yeah, I went 4 times. Good for you.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
It must be nice.
Pun number 1. If
I'm
you are starting
sorry.
a drinking game at home of all the puns we're making on Hamilton, if you know the show,
There's
Keep
going
'em
to be
coming,
so
keep 'em
many
coming,
of these.
keep 'em
So, no,
coming.
you're
Oh,
good.
you're
Take
not
Take
gonna-
it
sips,
prepared.
tiny sips. Don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't overindulge
don't,
yourself.
please, no.
Obviously, the show is going to continue to be massive,
Yeah.
as I'm sure it's not going to be released to the public for any time soon, with rights and such. It's going to live on forever as part of the Disney family.
Yeah.
Any friend in the theater community will be singing of its praises for many years to come. It was a game-changing musical that not only incorporated heavy amounts of hip-hop and rap, as well as some elements of British invasion, because why not? Lynn created In the Heights.
Still here.
Yeah. Lynn created In the Heights before the musical, before this show, so it's not like this is the first time that we've had a rap hip-hop musical out there. But this was why it felt truly different. Hamilton came at a time of major political divide, and we're still going through it. It was good to look back on where our country started. It demonstrates that the Constitution isn't perfect, and it was meant to be a starting point for the U.S., and we can keep adding to it and changing it as needed. Change is healthy, whether we like it or
Crazy.
not.
That's crazy talk, Merrick.
Yeah.
I'm a radical leftist. We can look back and see how far we've come, but we also have to be aware of how much more we need to fix in order to get to a better place. Being released as a theatrical film in 2020 on Disney Plus only enhances its relevance related to diversity and representation on stage and screen. It highlights political divide and scandal as we approach the 2020 election. It took a cabinet of people to create this production, but it really only took one man to make it a reality. After starting out as a concept mixtape about someone who embodied hip-hop and later becoming a full-fledged musical, Hamilton is representative of Lin-Manuel Miranda's hopes and dreams as a writer, creator, and innovator. It's almost an autobiography. It's the American dream realized. It appears that this show will continue to be important for generations to come. It's popular and important. Quoting Common at the 2016 Tony Awards, simply put, it's one of the greatest pieces of art ever made.